Hey gamers, Maniac here with GameAccess.net. It's been almost 2 years since the release of the Apple Vision Pro, and I am a person who you remember picked it up on day one, and I still have my Vision Pro. And I've done pretty much everything that you can do with the Vision Pro up to this point. We're currently in the third generation of the operating systems. So I wanted to talk about, I know that a lot of people have been doing perspectives and retrospectives on it. They all made their decisions about the product. Um, and there hasn't really been much movement about the product. There's been no price drops. There's been no announcements officially of new hardware. There have been updates to the operating system and things like that. But one of the things I wanted to mention is that there were a lot of promises that were made about this device that did not come to fruition, even almost 2 years later. And another thing I wanted to mention is that this is still one of the best products that I've ever used in my entire life. If I had to say something that included the words, "This was made for me," I would say that about the Apple Vision Pro. And I'm dead serious about that. Now, first things first, let's talk about the positives. Let's talk about what I use the Vision Pro for. Let's talk about how I use the Vision Pro, and then I will tell you about what I feel like was missed, what I feel like was needed. First things first, the vast majority of the use of the Vision Pro I use it for personally is either for entertainment or productivity. I know. Congratulations. You're basically just described the PC, and that's not that far off. I'm going to be perfectly honest. Now, what are the two types of things that I use for it, the majority of it? Well, let's talk about productivity first. First things first, and this is not a spoiler, it was there since day one. Microsoft released Office 365. Their entire suite is available on the Vision Pro, natively downloadable off the Apple App Store for the Vision Pro. You can download the 365. If you're already a 365 subscriber or your employer is a 365 subscriber, you can download and use those applications on the Vision Pro. It's great use for people who work in an office who don't want to stare at tiny screens all day. And I can testify the fact that it is a billion times easier if I'm doing productivity work, actual tangible work, where I need to have applications open. I need to be able to communicate through those applications. I need to be able to check email. I need to be able to use the web, obviously for business applications and things like that, and have things like Office up on my screen. Having them all around me at my desk is a billion times more comfortable than having to stare at a tiny laptop screen, and certainly. And it sure saves a lot of desk space that you can simply just have application here, application here, application here, application here. You can have applications wherever you want, all around you, depth, whatever, basically, than it is to fill up a desk with 3 or 4 monitors, at least 2 monitors, basically. I don't even use more than 1 monitor at home anymore because I just don't need to. I have my Mac that I use. It's got a studio display, and that's all I have plugged into it because that's all I need to plug into it. If I'm using one of my computers for work or something along those lines, if I need to have more windows open, I will put my Vision Pro on, and I will open the applications that I need at that time, and I will use them. Now, what do I use them with? We'll get into that in just a minute or so, but let me finish talking about the application stuff. And obviously, like I said, the whole Microsoft 365 suite is in there. Obviously, you have web browser in the form of Safari that you could use if you're using web-based applications. That'll work just fine as well. Just be aware that your employer may accidentally confuse your Vision Pro use when you sign into your applications, if they're web-based applications, the system may trigger that it might assume that you're logging in using a Mac because it's a Safari browser. So it might falsely recognize your device as a Mac device, like a Mac desktop. More likely, the people would assume it was a MacBook or something. It's not. I'm sure it's only because it's the Safari browser being used on an M2 processor. So, but I did think that was kind of interesting. Actually, the system couldn't tell the difference. I had to tell some people, it's like, no, that's me. They're like, did you get a MacBook or something? I'm like, no, hold on, I'll show you what I got. Like, oh, that's a Mac? Yeah, it's a Mac for my face. So that's productivity. It actually is great. And you get used to the comments that you get. People, they say, oh, you're going to wear those things to work and you're going to wear them around people and people are going to mock you for it. Only a little bit. Only a little. Okay. I've said this in videos earlier. I know what bullying is. I grew up being bullied. I know the difference between bullying and not bullying, at least towards me. And I'm usually a live and let live kind of guy, be honest. No, I don't mind somebody saying, hey, you going skiing like once or whatever it is. That doesn't bother me. Like, hey, can you, after a while they get bored of it and they go back to work basically. And so do you, it's no big deal. There were people that did ask me what I can do with it and why I prefer to use it at work. And, I'm going to get into that in a little bit because they also wanted to know the second part, which is, well, I've already told you about productivity and how much I prefer to use it for productivity opposed to a laptop or something. What can I do for entertainment? Let's talk about that second. And the important thing to know is that I love going to IMAX theaters. I am a film snob when it comes to IMAX. And you could make an argument beggars can't be choosers because the truth is that there really aren't too many IMAXs where I live. And the ones that are near me are not very good. And this is a whole conversation that would probably take several hours in another video as to why there is such a thing as good IMAXs versus bad IMAXs. But needless to say, there are, and I do like going to good IMAXs, and I don't like going to bad IMAXs unless I know some advanced information from whoever made the film that, yeah, going to see it in a bad IMAX is A-okay. Other than that, I really don't go to the movies. Unless there's like a major superhero movie or some other type of classic film that I'm really interested in coming out, like something unusual coming out that I thought would be interesting. An Avengers level movie, I think this year I basically went to go see like maybe 3 movies so far, and I'm going to see maybe one more by the end of the year. I saw Superman, I saw Fantastic Four, I saw the Thunderbolts, and I'm going to go see Tron Ares at the end of the week is my plan. 4 movies in 1 year. That's all I'm interested in. That's 4 reasons I will go to the theater. That's it. No other reasons. Every other movie, be honest, I could care less about them, but I'd probably just rather watch them on HBO Max or Netflix or Peacock or something along those lines on my own 4K TV. Well, I am in a room right now, which you can't see all of, but needless to say, this room is broken up into 2 sections. One of them is where I'm at right now, which is a sectional couch with an open area right in front of it for common space and things like that. I originally set up this space so that I could have people over, friends over. We could all sit in the sectional with our Nintendo Switches so we could basically play Pokemon games from the couch, using like ad hoc local Wi-Fi connections basically with each other. We'd physically be near each other. We'd be able to play Switch games, whether it's Pokemon or Mario Kart or something like that. That's why I set up this space. Shortly after the Vision Pro came out, it turned out that this space that I had set up was unknowingly perfect for VR use for 3 reasons. Number 1, well, it's well lit. Number 2, you can't see this right now, but there's no coffee table. There's nothing really in front of me. If I wanted to get up, I got plenty of space around the sectional area, in the front of the sectional area, that I can basically move around in. And the third is that if I don't want to be moving around and I want to be sitting up, well, I can just simply recline on my sectional couch as well. Kind of similar to some of the new theaters' reclining chairs. Well, there's no surround sound in this room set up, although I do set up some various wireless audio for ambiance. There's no TV, there's no room to put a TV in this room. And yet I have watched full-length 3D feature films, as well as full-length IMAX films down here, as if I traveled 5 hours to go see a film on a good IMAX screen. Because the Vision Pro does have the best theatrical presentation I have witnessed to date of any type of film. Better than non-IMAX theatrical screens. I'm going to say right now, I went to go see Deadpool and versus Wolverine last year on the Cinemark XD screen, and it looked awful. Absolutely freaking awful. And I thought, they probably, what is this, the projectionist asleep? Maybe. I then went to go see Alien Romulus on an IMAX screen, and it looked pretty darn good. I'll be honest, it did. It looked pretty darn good. Then I put my Vision Pro on, and I watched the 3D version of Deadpool and Wolverine, which was offered on iTunes at no additional cost for downloading for purchasing, that. And it was incredible. Absolutely incredible. It looked better than the Cinemark XD version. Just even better. Rewind a couple years earlier. I went to go see the Super Mario Brothers movie in 3D. And I thought to myself, oh, that's a really good movie. I later picked up the 4K version on 4K disc. And then I thought to myself, it'd be interesting to see, because they had released the Mario Brothers movie on iTunes in 3D. And as someone who distinctly remembers the experience of watching the Super Mario Brothers movie in 3D, I was curious what the experience would compare watching it on the Vision Pro. And the experience was identical. Absolutely identical. I could have stayed home and watched it on my Vision Pro, and as far as I'm concerned, there was absolutely no difference whatsoever. Now, I have used other VR headsets that also claim to be able to present different types of immersive films and different types of video. Like, I've used the Quest Pro. You guys might know this. I've used the Meta Quest 3. I still use the Meta Quest 3 regularly. There is no comparison to when you're watching video. In all cases, I've watched even professionally produced 3D, immersive content on the Vision Pro. It always looks blurry. It always looks compressed. And I'm on a pretty high-speed connection. And it still looks compressed and blurry on a Quest headset. I see that same content on the Vision Pro, and it looks perfect. Absolutely perfect. And it looked perfect since day one, and it's looked perfect ever since. And that was just my talk about theatrical transitions for films. Obviously, if you're watching if you can't watch Netflix on it, at least not because there's no Netflix application, you have to go to the website. But applications like Disney Plus, absolutely incredible. HBO Max, must download. Heck, even Tubi is fun to watch. It doesn't go too crazy. You're just watching a video screen, but the interface is pretty snappy. I'll give them that. The quality is really good. I'll give them that too. So I have no idea why they haven't released more or why new streaming services haven't offered native Vision Pro applications. I really can't see a reason why they didn't release Peacock, and I'll get into one of the other ones pretty soon. But streaming works really well. It looks fantastic. as well. So you can watch more than just Apple TV Plus content or Apple TV content. You can also watch, like I said, HBO Max, that sort of thing. All looks great. All looks great. And Disney Plus offers 3D. All looks great. So that's when it comes to entertainment, what I'm mostly using it for. Games, not really there. If you wanted to be playing virtual reality games with game experiences, at least at the time this video is getting posted, if your intention is you want to play fully immersive 3D games, then I'm going to tell you right now, get a MetaQuest 3. MetaQuest 3 already has all the VR games. They're going to be getting the VR games, and it offers Steam streaming. If your intention is just to play games and, produce video games, the Vision Pro just doesn't have that just yet. That having been said, the Vision Pro completely kicks the Quest 3 out of the water when it comes to immersive video content. Absolutely just destroys it. As well as web browsing is more comfortable in the Vision Pro. The applications are much more comfortable in the Vision Pro. It's just night and day, basically. So, if I left anything out, in case you're curious, like, well, what applications do I also like to use for entertainment purposes? The Puzzling Place application was actually really exciting. I really did enjoy that application quite a bit. It was addictive, basically getting all the pieces together to put in all the different stuff. That was one that really jumped out at me. I also loved What If. The What If game was absolutely freaking incredible. Best freaking game on the Vision Pro, and it was free. And while it's not a super long game, didn't have to be. The presentation was fantastic. Why weren't more games released like that? Like What If was? I have no idea. But it was absolutely freaking incredible. Probably one of the reasons why the Vision Pro actually was worth the price, honestly. Because I'm going to say that. The Vision Pro was worth the price. It was worth what I paid for it. But that's not what you guys want to hear. I'll talk more about what do I like using with it, or what do I recommend if you are going to use a Vision Pro, what accessories. Now, I previously, a couple of years ago, did a whole video about what accessories that I use, what accessories that I recommend. But since this is going to be meant to be a more in-depth video, I will simply repeat it and say it out loud. There are 2 things that I absolutely do recommend that you get immediately. 3 things if you're going to be a traveling person. The first is get AirPods. Yeah, so what AirPods? In the original video, I said get either AirPod 3s if you don't want noise canceling, or get AirPod Pro 2s if you do want noise canceling. But do not get anything other than those 2 models. Now, I will tell you, don't do that. And in fact, don't get AirPod 3s at all. In fact, if you have AirPod 3s, replace them. And the reason why is because since that video was produced, there have been 2 new generations of AirPods that have been released. AirPod Pro 3s, as well as the regular AirPod 4s with noise canceling. Now, I will have mentioned this. If you still have AirPod Pro 2s, those are still fine. Those will work just fine. And they will pair perfectly as long as you previously used your AirPods or set up your AirPods on a like an iPhone or an iPad that supports it, that was signed into your Apple account. The reason why is because this supports head tracking for surround sound audio, and it also supports noise canceling. And let me tell you something, there is just nothing like having your complete attention, noise canceling turns on, AirPods put in, full virtual surround sound when you're watching an immersive film or an IMAX film or a theatrical film in like a theater environment. There's nothing like it. Apple Vision Pro wins it every single time. I've had a better, there's just no beating it. So if you are going to do that, get some AirPods, or make sure to transition your existing AirPods when you're using the Vision Pro. I would say if you don't have any AirPods, you might as well just get the Pro 3s. I would say if you've already got the Pro 2s, you can keep them. If you have non-Pros, whether it be like a Gen 1, Gen 2, or Gen 3, and you're trying to save a couple of bucks, then you'll be fine getting the Gen 4 AirPods. Just be aware that battery life on these are the Gen 4 AirPods right here. The battery life is not as good, nowhere near as good as the AirPod Pro 2s. But these are more comfortable in my ears, I feel. Also, noise canceling is not as good either. But again, these are a lot more comfortable in my ears. At least my opinion is that they're more comfortable in my ears. And I've had those tips fitted. So I know what my, I have the proper ear seal on my AirPod 2s, AirPod Pro 2s. But these still feel more comfortable in my ears. So I just wanted to say that out loud. Battery life, though, is not as good. What else do I recommend? You get an Apple Magic Keyboard. In fact, get the recent model Apple Magic Keyboard. You don't have to get the model with the Touch ID. You don't have to get the model with the keypad. In fact, don't bother getting the keypad. Get the regular stock Magic Keyboard. And if you don't already have one, go out and buy the USB-C model. Buy that just so you can have unified amongst all of your devices. I still have the if you still have like the lightning chargeable one, that will work too just fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't bother with Touch ID. It doesn't use Touch ID. You're not going to need Touch ID. Don't bother with the numeric keypad because that just adds, extra space. It's a larger keyboard. Regular Magic Keyboard, either the Lightning version or the recent USB-C version, must get. And the reason why is because you're going to be typing up stuff. If you're going to be working, you're going to be typing up stuff. If you're going to be using the Safari browsing, you're going to be typing up stuff. And I'll be honest, it is a million times faster just to simply type up something on a Bluetooth paired keyboard than it is to either, say it out loud or to basically, in my opinion, I just use the keyboard. I turn it on when I need it. I turn it off when I don't need it. And it is perfectly fine with me. And I do appreciate that when Vision OS 2 came out, that they did allow for that keyboard to be visible and pass through. And I did also think that it was kind of quaint to see that as you once you start using the keyboard, the auto text for auto dictionary does hover over and does move the over your keyboard visually. So if you will have a opportunity, just like you do in the iPhone and the iPad, to auto tap words that it thinks you're trying to tap to spell out, you can just simply tap, and the way the Vision Pro does it, they just hover that over the keyboard. And I thought that was a really cool feature. It's expected that you're going to be using it at a desk, so if it's on your lap, it might be a problem, but I don't know, maybe I'm going to invest in a TV tray, and we'll see what happens if that improves keyboard readability for the Vision Pro. So I don't have a TV tray, but I am thinking about getting one. That's another one that I thought that I would recommend. The third is, and I'm going to be perfectly honest, this one's optional, but you're probably going to want to get it, and that is a Vision Pro travel bag, because I can't tell you how much more convenient it is just to stick that thing into a bag. I even got it right here. It's extremely convenient. I know it's big, but so is the device, and so is all the stuff you're going to be using on it. No, you can't fit the keyboard with it, but you can't stick the AirPods with it. That's perfectly fine. It fits a charger. It fits the battery. It won't fit a spare battery, but it'll fit one head strap, but you only need one. And that's basically the third thing that you should get. Think about it. You're probably going to ask me, what's my preferred method of head strap? This is the dual loop head strap. I never really used it, I'll be honest with you. I am trained on the solo loop. I pretty much exclusively use the solo loop. I know there are a lot of people that prefer to do modifications. I do no modifications. I have considered getting the headset that was offered by the company that makes CPAP head straps, but I have not got my hands on. I can't comment on those. I would like to try them, but I have not been able to pick one up or place an order for them. I just haven't had a chance to. But I would be willing to give it a shot if I get the opportunity to do so. If they did release a newer type of head strap, I probably would be interested in it. But for right now, the solo loop is my preferred method. So let's talk about, now we talked about all this great stuff that I like. Let's talk about what I either don't like or stuff that they promised that we never got. But actually, no, I take it back. Let's talk more about what I liked. Apple's immersive films are literally the best thing that ever existed. These are incredible 180-degree 3D films. IMAX quality. In fact, they're better than IMAX quality as far as I'm concerned. Just IMAX quality on the cameras. I remember day one, we got an offer of about a half a dozen different specials that we could watch, and I remembered watching all of them over and over and over again. And there's another reason for that, because we only had 6 documentaries, and for months, that's all we had. And yes, there was an immersive trailer. If you've been to an Apple store, you probably got an immersive trailer as well. They since changed it out a little bit because they've changed their mind on what they're offering, or what they're going to offer in the future. But it was hard to only have that limited amount of exclusive content. Now, over the course of the past year plus, there has been more content that's been offered in the system over the course of the system. But I'm going to be perfectly honest, not very much. We are starving for Apple immersive content to be coming. Months ago, they promised extra shows would be coming. Not all of them sounded very good. The point of view of a baby documentary that they were talking about, or series that they were talking about, and that has shown up in the Apple immersive trailer, does not really appeal to me, to be perfectly honest, but I'd watch it anyway. The Elevated series is impressive. I really do like it. The Adventure series has been incredible. Wildlife has been incredible. And they only have less than 10 episodes of these shows total amongst all of them. When the initial Apple immersive trailer was released, there was a brief clip of a steam train in the snow going out of a tunnel. To this day, that shot has not been seen on any immersive release that Apple has made. In fact, the snow train was removed from the later revision of the Apple immersive trailer. Where's my snow train? Tim Cook, where's my damn snow train? I want my snow train back. It was a beautiful shot. Where is it? What was it meant for? I have no idea. It was just clips here, clips here, clips here. It was beautiful. And we don't know what it's for. So that is one of the things that there's just next to no content for it. And even though we've gotten some incredible stuff that was released, it has been very slow, and it has been very gut-wrenching to basically keep waiting for it. I don't know why, I don't know if more is coming. It's been kind of like empty promises about more stuff coming. There have not been upgrades to the Apple TV series to accommodate for it, unfortunately. But that is something that's really upset me, that we haven't gotten more of that. Other stuff we haven't gotten. When Apple first made the announcement of the Vision Pro, they mentioned that they partnered with Disney. Yes, the Disney Corporation. Walt Disney Films, whatever you want to call them. And Disney came out of the bat with their own little teaser trailer, basically, which was released as part of that video, and it's still a part of that video if you go looking for it right now, where they showcased what would be possible and what would be coming for the Vision Pro from Disney. One of the things that they showed was Disney Plus application. Nope, day one, we got that. The other thing that they showed very briefly was a What If episode. We got that too. It wasn't immediate, but we got that just before OS 2 came out. It was close enough. But then they showed other stuff, like a real-time ESPN application. An ESPN application that showed live statistics, 3D graphs of player percentages, statistics, scores of different games. The opportunity that maybe you could watch multiple games at the same time in the application, which, to be honest, you could do in a Vision Pro. You have multiple video feeds up. We never got that. To this day, there is no native ESPN application for the Vision Pro. I don't know what happened. I know that since then, ESPN has basically been changing its rules about how it wants people to access it. First, you could just access it from just through your cable provider. Then you had to access it by having it as an addition to a bundle for Disney Plus, which would be more expensive. And now you got to have a whole new bundle if you want to watch the WWE pay-per-views on ESPN, which nobody is doing right now. ESPN is a vaporware. Don't have it. And that, out of everything they announced, was the biggest shame. We don't have it. It was a lie. It was vaporware. Haven't heard anything from it since. And that's disappointing because ESPN is making itself harder and harder to access. And if they offered Vision Pro capabilities, that might make people more excited about whatever new tiers of income you want. I don't know. But that's my point about this. Unless they have Vision Pro support, they can't justify their recent price hikes. They really can't. Or their new tiers, for that matter. The second thing that they announced that did not show up was something very simple. It looked like they were making like interactive Mickey posters, like widgets, something similar to like standalone widgets that you can interact with. That never came up. I haven't seen anything like that, and I've had a Vision Pro since day one. And the third looked like it was a way to interact and create your own Disney theme park. Like even back in the day, I remember like iPhone and iPad and stuff like that would have like park builder applications. I'm sure Disney went along with it. I remember Jurassic Park had a big one. Simpsons Tapped Out was a big one for building your own Springfield. That's been discontinued. But yeah, I remember those types of applications back in the day. Disney did say that there would be a possibility that you could basically create something like that with the Vision Pro. That's never come to fruition. Basically, after What If, Disney basically just disappeared about the Vision Pro. Although the Disney Plus application, from what I know, still works. That's disappointing that we didn't see any of that. So that's two things we're down. We're down on immersive content, and we're down on Disney support that was originally promised. The third was announced later. Now, that was around the time just before OS 2's features were announced. I remember that they were talking about offering handicap support for people who are hard of hearing. Now, a big thing that people who are hard of hearing would really appreciate, other than having their ability to hear amplified in some cases, would be the opportunity to be able to see subtitles of people talking to you. And I know for a fact that this is a big feature of those new Meta Ray-Ban glasses that everybody's been talking about recently. That you could basically be able to see subtitles of people as they're talking to you live, literally in your vision's perspective. Well, that was announced just before OS 2. It was announced going to be part of OS 2 coming out. We don't have it. I think at one point it was tested. I mean, I haven't seen the feature. I don't see the feature being announced. Right now, we're past OS 2. We're in iOS 26, Vision OS 26 right now. Haven't seen this feature. And I remember I have a grandmother who is hard of hearing, who would really appreciate a feature like this. She could be walking around with her little AirPods. I can just imagine my little grandmother basically walking around with a Vision Pro. Yes, we would have to get her lenses. Yes, we would have to get her prescription filled in the lenses. But she could walk around with these things, and she is still hard of hearing, she is not happy with her hearing aids at all. I tried getting her hooked into some AirPods, but even I admit that her AirPods did not fit into her ears very comfortably for her. Ironically enough, they fit fine in me and they fit fine in my dad. But my grandmother, unfortunately, my grandmother is my father's mother. The AirPods just we could not get a good seal on them, unfortunately, and they were very uncomfortable for her. So we couldn't use them for hearing tests and things like that, unfortunately. But if they could release subtitles with something like this, congratulations, you just made hearing aids obsolete. Congratulations. And you're cheaper. Even at $3,500, you're cheaper than most high-end hearing aids. I know, I was shocked too. So that was another thing that was very surprising to see missing. And there was one other thing, and this was optional because they did take this down. Starfield backgrounds, projected backgrounds onto surfaces. That is a feature that's physically capable of the Vision Pro. There are a couple of applications that can literally anchor their application stuff onto their widgets. Can do that, obviously, but even back then there was a couple of applications that I saw that could actually anchor onto spaces. The dinosaur simulation was one of them. What else? There was an application called Out There that could basically play around with that. What If could anchor itself onto a surface, at least at certain spots. But yeah, no Starfield. Speaking of backgrounds and foregrounds for that matter, let's talk about immersive environments. When the Vision Pro came out, we got about, I don't know, almost a dozen. You got like 6 of them, and then some color tinting and things like that. 2 of them did not release until Vision OS 2 came out, or just about when Vision OS 2 came out. And then when Vision OS 26 came out, we got one more, Jupiter. Since then, we got nothing else, and there is no third-party application to make your own immersive environments. There are some limited environments that your applications can use, like Disney has a Disney Plus Theater, and Avengers Tower, Loft, and Balcony. But that's it. And that's a little disappointing. I was kind of hoping for more backgrounds, or at the very least, I was kind of hoping for more opportunities to basically use those backgrounds, or ability to create my own backgrounds. Didn't happen. So, out of all of that, that's what we didn't get. What does this thing do that's better than anything else? Combined with an iPhone 16, for example, I can shoot a full video in 3D with my iPhone, and you probably can too. If you have a iPhone 15 Pro, iPhone 15 Pro Max, any iPhone 16 except for the 16e, or any iPhone 17 except for the 16 Air, the 17 Air, you could shoot a spatial 3D movie right now, start to finish, and you could watch it in 3D on your Vision Pro. How far have we come? Yeah, it's limited by its 1080p. Yeah, you need a lot of light, but it works. And when I was in Disney World with my wife for our anniversary, I shot a lot of spatial video. And when I put them on my Vision Pro, I could not believe I felt like I was back there all over again. And that, to me, make this whole experience of the Vision Pro worth it, I thought. So I basically bought a Mac computer for my face. And I have waited my whole life to be able to say that I can literally be able to access what I need on the spot, wherever it is. And while it hasn't delivered on everything that it's promised, and it's slow to basically deliver on some of the stuff, that more of the content that we enjoy, I am still not giving this thing up. I am still happy with this thing. I am still excited by what the future holds. Even if this is a stepping stone, which this is a big one. This thing isn't going anywhere. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Until next time, my name is Maniac with GameAccess.net. Take care. Over and out.